Okay, we have discussed the right dominance, left dominance, and the codominance. Right dominance, that the posterior interventricular artery is a branch of right coronary artery, which is normal thing, which is present in 67% of people. But left dominance, that the posterior interventricular artery is a branch of left coronary artery. See here in this diagram also, they have shown the posterior surface of the heart, the right coronary artery which is running in the coronary sulcus or the coronary groove, and see here it is giving the posterior interventricular artery. This is right dominance. This is circumflex branch of the left coronary artery. See here on the other side, this is left dominance because the right coronary artery is not giving any branch here on the posterior side, and the circumflex branch of the left coronary artery which was also running in the coronary sulcus, it is giving the posterior interventricular artery. This question is very important. In MCQs, in SCQs, it will be asked. In Viva also, they can ask you what is right dominance of heart, what is left dominance of heart, in how many individuals right dominance is present, in how many individuals left dominance is present. So we will discuss the origin of posterior interventricular artery. If it is originating from the right coronary, it is right dominance. If it is originating from the left coronary, it is left dominance. One is present in 67% of people, one is present in 16 to 17% of people, and in 15% of individuals there is codominance. Codominance means both arteries, right coronary and left coronary, they are contributing in the formation of posterior interventricular artery. Okay, the same thing is written here. See here, in most common, right dominant patron is present, 67% of people. Right coronary artery and the left coronary artery, they share equal amount of the blood supply. Okay, in 15%, left coronary artery is dominant, in that the posterior interventricular branch is the branch of the circumflex artery, but codominance can also be present in 18% of the individuals. Now, there are coronary artery anastomosis also. Anastomosis means collateral circulation. It is present between the terminal branches of right and the left coronary arteries, but they are usually not large. They are not usually so large enough to provide an adequate blood supply to the cardiac muscle. Okay, so thus the coronary arteries are generally considered to be as functional end arteries. A sudden block of one of the large branches of either coronary artery usually lead to myocardial death, that is the myocardial infarction. Although sometimes the collateral circulation is enough to sustain the muscle, but most of the times the anastomosis between the terminal branches of right and left coronary arteries, they are not large enough to provide adequate blood supply to the cardiac muscle. That's why they are called as functional end arteries. See here in this diagram, you can see the right coronary artery. This is right coronary, and this one over the left side, this is left coronary artery. Okay, the right coronary artery is giving many branches. This is right conus artery. Okay, this is marginal artery. It is going on the back side and it will give the posterior interventricular artery. This is left coronary artery. It will give the left conus artery. It will give the circumflex branch which is going back in the coronary sulcus, and this is anterior interventricular artery, which is also called as left anterior descending or LAD. See here, this is aorta. Okay, it will give the ascending aorta will give the right coronary and the left coronary artery. Again, another diagram. See here, this is right coronary artery. Okay, it is giving many branches here. See here, it is giving many branches. Okay, the posterior interventricular branch is also shown here, which is coming out from the right coronary artery. This is left side. It is giving circumflex branch. Again, I am repeating again and again, the main branches, an anterior interventricular branch of the left coronary artery. This is the diagram which is shown to which is showing you the blood supply of the interventricular septum, that how much of the interventricular septum is supplied by the right coronary and how much is supplied by the left coronary. So remember this thing, that the posterior interventricular branch, which is the branch of the right coronary artery, it is supplying 1/3 of the ventricular septum, but the left coronary artery, which is giving anterior interventricular branch, is supplying 2/3 1/3 of the ventricular septum. This is very important. See here, this is left coronary giving two branches, circumflex branch of the left coronary and anterior interventricular branch of the left coronary. It is giving septal branches. These are all septal branches. These septal branches will supply the 2/3 of the ventricular septum, and the another 1/3 of the ventricular septum is supplied by the right coronary artery, which is giving the posterior interventricular branch. So this diagram is also very important. You should know that how much part of the ventricular septum is supplied by the left coronary and how much is supplied by the right coronary artery. See here another diagram. This is the posterior view. This is right coronary artery. This is posterior interventricular artery. On the other side, this is left coronary, which is giving circumflex branch here. And there was another anterior interventricular artery, which was over the anterior side. So this is the posterior view of the heart. Now this is the chart in which all arteries names are written. See here the branches of right coronary artery. This is the name of the artery. This is the origin. This is the course. This is the distribution, and this is the anastomosis. For example, this is right coronary artery. It will originate from the right aortic sinus and it follow the coronary sulcus or the coronary groove between atria and ventricle, which is also called as AV groove or AV sulcus or atrioventricular groove. It is distributing to the right atrium, SA node, AV node, and the posterior part of the interventricular septum, which I have told you 1/3 of the interventricular septum or the posterior part of the interventricular septum. It will anastomose with the circumflex branch and anterior interventricular branch of the left coronary artery. Then it will give SA nodal branch. I have told you SA nodal branch is coming out from the right coronary artery in about 65% or 60% of the individuals. It is sent to the SA node. It is distributed over the pulmonary trunk and the SA node. Then there was right marginal artery, which I have told you is the largest branch of the right coronary artery, originating from the right coronary. It passes to the inferior margin of the heart and it will reach the apex also. It will supply the right ventricle because it is over the right side, and it will supply a part of the apex of the heart also. It will anastomose with many IV branches or interventricular branches. Then there is the main artery, which is posterior interventricular artery, right dominance, present in 60% of individuals. It runs in the posterior interventricular groove to the apex of the heart. It will supply the right and the left ventricles and posterior 1/3 of the interventricular septum. It will anastomose with the anterior interventricular branch of the left coronary artery. Then there was AV nodal branch. It is coming out from right coronary. It passed to the AV node. It will supply the AV node. These were the main branches of the right coronary artery. Then this is the summary of the left coronary artery. It will originate from the left posterior aortic sinus. It runs in the AV groove, that is the coronary sulcus, gives off two main branches, anterior interventricular and circumflex artery. It will supply left atrium, ventricles, IVS, that is the interventricular septum, mainly anterior 2/3 of the interventricular septum, AV bundle, and mainly it will supply the AV node. Okay, it will anastomose with the right coronary artery. It will give SA nodal branch in 40% of the individual or in 35% of the individual. It will come out from the circumflex branch of the left coronary artery. It will ascend on the posterior surface of the left atrium to the SA node, and it will supply left atrium and SA node. There is anterior interventricular branch, which is one of the main branch of the left coronary artery. It passes along the anterior interventricular groove to the apex of the heart. It will supply right and left ventricles and anterior 2/3 of that was posterior 1/3. This is anterior 2/3 of the interventricular septum, and it will anastomose with the posterior interventricular branch of the right coronary artery. Then this is another main branch of the left coronary, that is circumflex branch, coming out from left coronary artery, passes to the left in AV sulcus. AV sulcus is the coronary sulcus or atrioventricular sulcus. sulcus and runs to the posterior surface of the heart. It will supply left atrium, left ventricle, anastomosed with the right coronary artery. Then there was left marginal, which is also called as diagonal artery. This is coming out from the circumflex branch of the left coronary. It follows the left border of the heart. It will supply left ventricle, and it is anastomosing with many of the interventricular branches. Then the posterior interventricular artery can also come out from the left coronary artery in about 33% of the individual. This is called as left dominance. See here it is written 33% of the individuals. This chart is pasted from KLM. So in both Snell's and KLM, this right dominance and left dominance percentages are different. Okay, so here it is written, this is from KLM, that posterior interventricular artery can come out from the left coronary artery in about 33% of the individuals. But what we have learned before, that from the posterior interventricular artery can come out from the left coronary artery in about 15% of the individuals. Okay, come out from the circumflex artery. But here it is written 35% of the individuals or 33% of the individuals. So the percentages can be different in different reference book. So if you are writing 33%, so you can write in bracket that it is from KLM, or if you are writing 13% or 16 to 17%, that is from Snell's. So it can, this is left dominance. Okay, run in the posterior interventricular groove to the apex of the heart. It will supply right and the left ventricles and posterior 1/3 of the interventricular septum. It will anastomose with the anterior interventricular branch of the left coronary artery at the apex. So this was the summary of the branches of the right coronary artery and the left coronary artery. Here also they have written, it is summarized, it is from KLM. The right coronary artery will supply the right atrium, most of the right ventricle, part of the left ventricle, part of the IV septum, that is the posterior 1/3 part, then SA node in 60%, AV node in 80% of the individuals. Then left coronary artery will supply the left atrium, most of the left ventricle, part of the right ventricle, most of the IV septum, that is the interventricular septum, and it is mostly anterior 2/3. Then SA node in 40% of the people. Okay, AV node in 20% of the people. So this was about the branches or the distribution of the branches of right coronary artery and left coronary artery. This is again the summary. Right coronary artery is supplying right atrium, most of the right ventricle, diaphragmatic surface of the left ventricle, posterior 1/3 of the ventricular septum, SA node in 60% of the people, AV node in 80% of the people. Left coronary artery, I am repeating all these things again and again, so that you have to learn the main branches of heart. There are two, right coronary, left coronary. What are the branches of right coronary artery? What are the branches of left coronary artery? What are those branching? What are the areas which are supplied by those branches? Okay, so left coronary artery will supply left atrium, most of the left ventricle, small part of the right ventricle, ventricular septum, how much part? Anterior 2/3, SA node in 40%, AV bundle and bundle branches in most of the people, but AV node in 20% of the people. Okay, so this was the typical distribution of coronary arteries. Now we will come towards the venous drainage. Most blood from the heart wall drains in the right atrium and by the coronary sinus. Okay, see here, this is coronary sinus. Can you see here? I am moving my cursor over the coronary sinus. This coronary sinus is running in the coronary sulcus or atrioventricular groove. This coronary sulcus or coronary groove is most prominent over the posterior surface of the heart. Okay, here they have shown the posterior surface of the heart. So most of the blood from the heart wall drains in the right atrium of the heart via this coronary sinus. That is, the venous drainage from all over the heart through three different veins. They will come in the coronary sinus, and from the coronary sinus it will drain in the right atrium of the heart. See here, this is right atrium of the heart. This coronary sinus is a large dilated vein that lie in the posterior part of the atrioventricular groove, that is coronary sulcus or coronary groove. Okay, it empties in the right atrium just to the left of the inferior vena cava. You can see here, this is the inferior vena cava, and this coronary sinus, which is a large dilated vein, it is entering the right atrium of the heart to the left of the inferior vena cava. This is very, very important. Okay, see here again, this is the coronary sinus. Coronary sinus, it will enter the right atrium of the heart, or it will open in the right atrium of the heart. Actually, there are three main veins. Can you see in this diagram? There are three main veins which are draining in the coronary sinus. Number one is great cardiac vein. See here, great cardiac vein, which is present on the left side of the heart. Then there is middle cardiac vein, which is present in the middle of the heart. Then there is small cardiac vein. Okay, middle cardiac and small cardiac, they are mostly present on the right side of the heart. Okay, these three veins, they will drain in the coronary sinus, and coronary sinus will open in the right atrium of the heart on the left of the inferior vena cava. Okay, there are another veins also which are called as anterior cardiac vein, which you can see in this diagram also. These veins do not enter the coronary sinus, they will enter the right atrium of the heart directly. So what you have to learn in the venous drainage of the heart, that there is one main dilated vein which is present in the coronary sulcus or the atrioventricular groove, which is prominent most commonly on the posterior side, and there are three main veins which are opening in the coronary sinus. One is great cardiac vein, one is middle cardiac vein, and one is small cardiac vein. Great cardiac vein is present on the left side. Middle and cardiac vein, the small cardiac vein, they are present on the right side, and they are opening in the coronary sinus. The coronary sinus is opening in the right atrium of the heart on the left of the inferior vena cava. There are some other veins also which are called as anterior cardiac vein, and they will open directly in the right atrium of the heart. The same thing is written here. I will read it for you. Three main veins drain the heart wall and open in the coronary sinus: the great cardiac vein, the middle cardiac vein, and the small cardiac vein. Each of these typically accompanies a specific coronary artery. The great cardiac vein drains most of the areas of the heart which are supplied by the left coronary artery, and they join the left end of the coronary sinus. I have already told you that the great cardiac vein is present on the left side of the heart. The middle and the small cardiac vein drain most of the areas normally supplied by the right coronary artery, and they will drain in the right end of the coronary sinus. As I have told you that the middle and the small cardiac vein, they are present on the right side of the heart. Again, see here, this is coronary sinus. This is, they have shown the posterior side. This is posterior side, and this is anterior one. This is great cardiac vein, which is present over the left side of the heart. Then there is middle cardiac vein, and this is the small cardiac vein, which are present on the right side of the heart. This is posterior view. Again, you can see here, this is the left marginal vein. This is great cardiac vein, which is opening in the left side of the coronary sinus. And this is the middle cardiac and the small cardiac veins, which are opening in the right side of the coronary sinus. And the coronary sinus will open in the right atrium of the heart. Here in this chart, they have shown the accompanying artery of the veins. The great cardiac vein is accompanied by anterior interventricular artery, which is the branch of left coronary artery. Middle cardiac vein is accompanying with the posterior interventricular artery, which is a branch of right coronary. Small cardiac vein is accompanied by the right marginal artery, which is also the largest branch of the right coronary artery. So summarized point is this one, that the great cardiac vein is present over the left side, opening in the left side of the coronary sinus, accompanied by the branch of the left coronary artery. Middle cardiac vein and the small cardiac vein, they are present on the right side of the heart. They will drain in the right side of the coronary sinus, and they are accompanied by the branches of the right coronary artery, which are posterior interventricular and the right marginal artery. All these things will come in your MCQ. Now they have discussed about the anterior cardiac vein. I have already told you that not all venous blood drain in the coronary sinus. There are variable number of small anterior cardiac veins which drain the anterior surface of the heart and they empty directly into the right atrium. Other very small veins may drain directly into the chambers of the heart, usually the atria, which can be right atrium or left atrium. So anterior cardiac vein, they will drain directly into the right atrium. Now, some of the clinical applications, see here, myocardial infarction. Myocardium can receive its blood supply through left and right coronary arteries. Although the coronary arteries have numerous anastomosis, I have already told you that there are numerous anastomosis, but those anastomosis, they are not large enough to provide arterial supply if there is blockage of any of the large artery of right coronary or left coronary. So they are called as functional end arteries. So if there is any sudden block of one of the larger branches of these coronary arteries, it will lead to necrosis of the cardiac muscle. See here, it will lead to necrosis of the cardiac muscle, and in that necrosis in that area, and the patient can die. This necrosis of the cardiac muscle is called as myocardial infarction. An acute thrombosis on the top of the chronic atherosclerotic narrowing of the lumen causes most cases of coronary artery blockage. Okay, so if there is any blockage in the artery, it will not supply that area, the muscle will be necrosed and patient can die, and this is called as myocardial infarction. Angina pectoris, what is angina? It is the cardiac pain that occurs on exertion and it is relieved by the rest. So if patient is having pain on the left side of the heart or left side of the chest along with the left arm, so how you can differentiate between the angina and between the muscular pain? The angina pectoris, which is a cardiac pain, it is relieved by rest. That is, when the patient will take rest, the pain will subside. But in the muscular pain, the pain will not subside on the rest. It is a continuous pain. So in this condition, the coronary arteries are so narrowed that the myocardial ischemia occurs on exertion but not at rest. So this is called as angina pectoris. This is the chart in which they have shown the coronary artery lesion. See here the name of the artery is written. For example, the proximal LAD, left anterior descending. This is the part of the coronary artery which is having lesion. If there is lesion in the proximal part of the left anterior descending artery, there is infarct which is located at the large anterior wall, and these are the ECG changes. Okay, so you can learn from here the coronary artery lesions. For example, if there is lesion of the right coronary artery, there will be infarct in the right ventricle, and these are the ECG changes which will be present in the ECG. There will be ST elevation, which is the most common, which will be present in all over the ECG in every coronary artery lesion. So this is a chart which will show that if there is any lesion in any of these arteries, there will be infarct location in the heart, and there are many ECG changes which will be present. Coronary, so what are the procedures which can be done in the heart diseases? There is coronary bypass surgery, which we have heard about. There is coronary angioplasty and coronary artery stenting. These are three procedures which are now commonly accepted method of treating coronary artery disease. The coronary bypass surgery involved the harvesting a segment of blood vessel and using that to circumvent a blockage in the coronary artery. For example, in such procedures, the great saphenous vein from the lower limb is used as a donor vessel because of its size and surgical ease of access, because we can gain access to the great saphenous vein very easily. Emerging techniques increasingly use the internal thoracic arteries also from the neighboring chest wall to revascularize the heart wall. So what are two donors? Great saphenous vein and internal thoracic artery can be used as a donor in the coronary bypass surgery. So this was the lecture in which we have discussed everything about the arterial and the venous drainage of the heart. I hope you have understood each and everything. So I will tell you the summary. We have discussed the right and the left coronary artery. They are the branches of ascending aorta. They will originate from the right aortic sinus or the left posterior aortic sinus respectively. So they will supply the heart. There are many branches from the right coronary artery and many branches from the left coronary artery also. You have to learn the names of the branches. You have to learn the area of distribution which they are supplying. Then you have to learn what is right dominance of the heart, left dominance of the heart, codominance of the heart, and what are the percentages. You can write the reference also, that in Snell's it is written that right dominance is present in 67% of the people and left dominance is present in 15% of the people. But in KLM it is written that right dominance is present in 67 or 60% of the people and left dominance is present in about 35 to 40% of the people. So right and left dominance and codominance also. Then what is coronary artery anastomosis? Why the coronary arteries are called as functional end arteries? Okay. Then what we have learned this distribution, origin, course, anastomosis of the arteries. This was the summary. Okay, then we have learned the heart venous drainage. There are three types of main veins which are present: great cardiac vein, middle cardiac vein, and the small cardiac vein. They are draining in the coronary sinus, and coronary sinus is draining in the right atrium of the heart. But there are some anterior cardiac veins which are not draining in the coronary sinus. They are draining directly in the right atrium of the heart. So you have to learn all these things. Then we have learned about the myocardial infarction, angina pectoris. These are some of the ECG changes, and then fact location of the coronary artery lesion. Then we have discussed that which are the two main donors which are used in the coronary bypass surgery. So this was the lecture of the arterial and the venous drainage of the heart. Please revise. This is very important lecture. Inshallah it will be good for you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.